Здравейте и добра вечер. В края на работния ден реших, че все пак ще имам малка възможност да представя реализиран проекта, който група приятели го планират от години и едва сега се реализира. Става дума, вероятно сте чули безброй пъти да го казвам, за сборник с разкази от Робърт Хайнлайн, подредени така, както самият той е желал. Издаден е в 2 тома, а сега ще ви представя първият. Той е издаден от новото вече издателство през и това си е буквално фенска завера. Какво имам предвид? С тези мои приятели от през отдавна си говорим, че множество заглавия в България не се издават или не се преиздават, защото спрямо издателите нямало достатъчен интерес и нямало да се продават. Ами сега с този мой приятел ще направим 1, 2 или няколко опита да печатаме книги в малко количество, 500 и 1000 бройки, и да сверим пазара. Търсят ли се тези неща или ще си останем всъщност някакви такива мухикани. Да ви кажа малко повече за книгата. Ще започна с това, че буквално корицата е взета от оригиналното издание и по това изключително много се доближаваме до голямата истинската фенщина и, как се казва, може само се кефиме. Преводите са оригиналните преводи на произведения, издавани вече в България. Преводачите бяха питани и одобриха това начинание. Като цяло този епос си е, как да кажа, едно 30-40 годишно събиране на нещата на Хайнлайн, като тук може да проследите. То е направено точно като американското издание, с линията на живота, да бъде светлина, пътищата трябва да се движат, експлозии се случват, човекът, който продаде луната, Далила и космическият строител, космически жокей, реквием, дългата вахта, господа, седнете, моля, черните ями на луната, чудно хубаво е да се завърнеш у дома и Сираци на Вселената. Сираци на Вселената, която мисля, че кратко представих, когато стана дума за децата на Метусела и за достатъчно време за любов, които те реално ще са вторият том от това нещо. В смисъл, днес е вече 2 септември и изключително много се зарадвах с тази новина, защото беше една, може би, почти едногодишна епопея да се свържем с американците, да получим правата от тях, после да се разплатим какво, накрая да ни одобрят, видите ли, корицата. Да, мисля, че септември започва добре. Сега започва алеята на книгата, за съжаление там няма да може да представим. Обаче в Пловдив на Булгакона ще има бройки, така че заповядайте, вземете си. Цената е направо символична, 28 лева. Разбира се, може да се поръчате и от нас, може да си отворите и сайта на Протон. Да, за сега е там само една книга, но надявам се скоро да станат повече. И знам ли, ще ми се съвсем скоро да се похвалим не само с 1-2 издания за фенове, стане цялостна поредица от фенове за фантастиката за фенове на фантастиката. Много ви благодаря.
In 1941, I did predict a war. That wasn't very hard to do. Along came 1961, I predicted a war again. And I did have some mistaken ideas about that as to when it would happen. But this is the 200th anniversary of this our republic. In all of that time, while we tend to think of peace as a normal condition, if you will look into the actual history of this country, you will find that we have been fighting in 199 of those years. For example, the late war in Korea was the second war we had with Korea, not the first. Go look it up. You'll find I'm speaking accurately. It surprised me the first time I saw the battle-torn flags at the Naval Academy when I went there as a plebe from Kansas City. 199 years in which we have been fighting, only 1 year of nominal peace. People worry about whether or not there is going to be an H-bomb or A-bomb war. Certainly there's going to be. There's going to be one, and there's going to be more than one. Don't kid yourselves. There will be wars. But the human race thrives on trouble. We're built for it. That's what we're good for. We wouldn't know how to get along without it. We are also going on out to the stars. I don't know what language will be used as the working language in that first starship. I would like it to be English, but that may be as much local patriotism as it is for me to be very happy to be back in my old hometown. My wife and I were traveling in the USSR some 18 years ago, I think it was. And at that time, we hit there at such a time that we were in Moscow at the time of the U-2 incident, but Господин Khrushchev kept it quiet. And by the time he decided what to do about it, we were out north of the Himalayas, about 2,500 kilometers from the nearest U.S. consul, and no other tourists around. And at that point, it was announced, and it felt very lonely. But things quieted down after a bit, and we found ourselves in Riga, I think it was, where we were entertained by the Union of Soviet Writers. Now, all during the trip, we'd been toasted here, there, and yon, on collective farms, anywhere. The toast would always be to Tavarish Khrushchev, to Mr. Eisenhower, Mir o Mir, peace to the world. And every time they found that when Jenny could speak fluent Russian, they always decided she was of Russian descent. And I would explain, no, nothing of the sort. She'd learned it at night school at the University of Colorado and had studied it very hard, and that was why she could speak Russian so well. In fact, we had a saying in our country that the optimists were learning Russian and the pessimists were learning Chinese. Well, I think that accounts for why I was out in my timing on my last prediction. On even-numbered days, I get up in the morning and say, thank God for Russia. And on odd-numbered days, I get up and say, thank God for China. It's something like this Trojan point balance. As long as all 3 points are there, it stays in an uneasy but nevertheless stable balance. I don't know how long that might last. But don't kid yourself that there will not be war. And don't kid yourself that there will not be survivors. The most ridiculous statement I've ever heard is one that was attached to a splinter political party. Peace and freedom, peace and freedom. You can have peace or you can have freedom, but you don't get both at once. Yes, I heard both the applause and the boos. The only way a man can be free is by an utter willingness to fight with the outright viciousness of one of Larry Niven's Gazitti. The only peace that a man who won't fight ever gets is the peace of the grave. And sometimes those who fight get it too, but this is the primary function of what otherwise is a genetically spoiled female. Thank God, not his primary function. His secondary function is to fight in defense of women and children. And yes, I can hear the boos too. And to those of you who booed, presently you will find that I am right. A great many of us are going to have only 2 choices, either not to fight and die or to fight and die. But nevertheless, there will be survivors. I learned that from Billy Lai, a great and wise man, Billy. He said, Robert, there are always survivors. No matter how bad it is, there are always survivors. And that is how the human race develops. That fits right in with this business of going on out to the stars. The human race is going to break again into 2 pieces. Homo terrans, and I can't get the Latin straight now. I've got my Latin expert down here, and I won't attempt to it, but man of the stars. It's going to be the same sort of a situation that we had starting here from Westport Landing, on out to Westport, and on out the tracks across the Kansas prairies. I don't know which way I'm oriented here. Which way is north? Somebody local here, point out north for me. Where? I'm facing north. All right. And they went off this way. There was an expression about it at that time. The cowards never started, and the weaklings died on the way. And that is what will happen with the human race with respect to going on out into space. And I think one of the happiest things that happened to this convention was to have Viking 2 land successfully right in the middle of it. And then there was this matter of, I made one other bad prediction when I was asked to do so in 1950, to make up some, I said we would cure our housing, make a breakthrough on housing surely by this time. I was dead wrong. Between various special interests, most of the United States is still living in houses that could have been built just as well and sometimes better in the Roman Empire. We have the most modern of electronic devices housed in things that are a little better than masonry tents. Good night.